this image of an Asian standing by not helping a Black man in need, you know, what is our responsibility as Asians? Are we doing enough? Are we playing our part in what's happening to the Black community as they are being hunted and gunned down in real time by these police officers?
I think the issue is because with the Asian cop, I think some people are like, well, he's a minority too. Like, he should know better. Like, it hurts more. It's more of a slap in the face to the Black community that another minority who also suffers from discrimination did nothing. And it's not about our responsibility as Asians. It's about our responsibility as humans. Like, if we see something like that, we should do something. And I understand, like, the bystanders are saying things. And I think I mean, obviously it's about race. Like, race plays a huge factor, but one of the biggest factors is power. It's about the inequities of power because, and I don't know if the Asian was like a subordinate officer or whatever, but I know for sure the bystanders, there is like a power differential between them and the cops. Like, if those weren't cops, one of the bystanders comes and knocks them off of George Floyd, for sure. George Floyd is still alive, but they can't, because if they push a cop off, now they get arrested or worse. You know, and I think it's so, you know, it's a power thing. And the you know, Asians and the African-American community have always had a fraught relationship. Like, it's always been like, we're always pitted against one another. Neither of us have like that much political power. And we both face discrimination of different kinds. Like, obviously the ones that African-Americans are facing are far more vicious and violent.
Yes, but there's nothing to be gained from comparing the plights. It's crabs in a bucket.
I agree, but we're not the ones comparing. It's what's happening is, like, back in the 60s, white politicians were using Asians and saying, oh, look at them, follow their example, look how behaved they are, and using that as a cudgel to try to get the Blacks, oh my God, African-Americans.
What have you done? What have you done?
I'm done. I've just
ruined it. Canceled.
What did I just do? Anyways, the whole point is, it's like, we have to be doing more. And again, not just as Asians, but as humans. Like, we should all be doing more. I don't know what that is. I'm asking, and I'm looking, and I'm listening. I think the most important thing is to listen, because what's happening to the African-American community is so outside of my experience that, you know, I mean, I don't even know how to begin.
It's because of this rhetoric, it's because of these biases against the Black community that Asian people who are just trying to, I don't know, be like white people so we can be free. Let's face it, people in Asia are bleaching their skin, getting surgery, bigger eyes. Like, you just know that in Asia, like, white is right. Like, we hold that epitome of whiteness to our beauty standards, to what we want. We want to be like, overtake America in being like the #1 country. Everyone wants to be white because we want the freedom of the whiteness. And so what do? We also inherit the prejudice of the whiteness. And that prejudice is against Black people. I'm a young girl. I'm watching my dad. He loves NBA basketball, Chicago Bulls. His best friend, he always says to me, oh, I'm not racist. My best friend Maurice is Black. And yet he can still tell his daughter, Jennifer, 你千万不要跟一个黑人在一起, which basically means, Jennifer, you better not date or like be with a Black guy. You know what I mean? So what is this hypocrisy, Dad? Like, sorry to call out my dad, but that's what he told me when I was young. And there are plenty of other immigrant girls with parents and dads that are like, oh, make sure he's not Black, because of that mentality. Yeah. So it's not just like, oh, we're Asians and we're against, like we all adopt that. So this problem, like the Asian cop not doing anything, yes, definitely, I think there's a power issue, but also I think in Asian culture, there is apathy that is ingrained in us. Mind your own business. In China, you see a kid being run over by a vehicle 3 times. No one goes to help because we're all suspicious. Like, if we go help, we're going to get implicated in a scheme. Like, keep your head down, mind your business. That's our mentality, and it needs to change, because this passive bullshit isn't working for us or other communities.
Yeah, that's why you shouldn't be sorry for calling out your dad. This is part of the thing. Like, when shit like that happens, we have to call it out. I mean,
just as people, not even a racial component. We need to just 100%. Support other people.
Yeah, I would say, you know, just leaning more into the Asian relationship with the Black community. It's interesting because Asians really, like, Black culture is really, you know, like what Jennifer was saying, we do admire white culture, but we also really admire Black culture. NBA, the second biggest market in the world is China, and then Hong Kong after that, which is kind of part of China. So, you know, Philippines, all that kind of stuff, you know, rap music, hip hop, all this kind of stuff. We really are into Black culture. But as Jennifer said, like, you know, from an incredibly young age, I was taught to hate Black people flat out. And most Asians are from an extremely young age. And we can't just say that, oh, that's our parents' generation, because if that's been hammered into us, like, this is still my generation. Like, it happened to me. So what am I passing on? If I, you know, obviously I'm gay, so I'm never gonna have a kid. But, you know, other
You don't know
people,
how good science will get. Maybe 5G will let us to achieve a whole new paradigm of technology.
so, like, you know, it's just, we're passing it on down, and the current generation has been taught this, and it's an ugly thing that Asians really have to face up to. And I will say, when a lot of things happen with Black Lives Matter, a lot of my Asian friends, and specifically my gay Asian friends, are the ones who not only did they not join in, but they were like incredibly hostile toward the movement. And for me, I was just like, why? Like, not only are you a visible minority, you're also gay. And, you know, sure, they stopped our parade for like half a minute, but it's a peaceful protest. Like, people are dying. You know what I mean? So I am disappointed in how Asians are reacting. But yeah, do you have anything to add, Sebastian, to that?
I don't know. It seems like the situation is degenerating even faster than usual in the U.S. and everyone's tense about multiple different issues at the same time. In Texas, there are people are getting shot with they're using rubber bullets, but they're hitting white people. So I think it's equally severe in the public eyes. But people are getting shot in the face with rubber bullets, that can be lethal, at the same as a regular bullet. And this is just bystanders. These aren't even protesters. This is how bad it's getting. I don't know. I think that the issue is getting too big to be contained within one group of anybody.
You know,
affect everybody.
I would say it is affecting other people, but I would say taking race out of the conversation when it's sort of what sparked it is it's a little bit difficult for me, because this whole thing is about race, and trying to take it apart and say that, you know, it's how we react as humans. I'm not sure I can really get there yet, because to me, it's just, you know, the race aspect of it, and this is probably part of my history coming in. So before I did comedy, I used to organize human rights conferences, and literally I only do comedy because I wanted to spread my message to more, you know, unwilling participants, because not that many people go to human rights conferences. So for me, this is like, I don't know. I just feel like if we're trying to have this conversation and take the race out of it and talk about it as humans.
Well, there's definitely no one's trying to take the race out.
Yeah, no. Race is
obviously
an issue.
It's the motivating factor.
Exactly. It's it's a complicated issue, and there's like a power dynamic, but the power dynamic is very much intertwined and inextricable from race. So we have to talk about race. I'm not saying not talk about race. We have to, and we should talk about it more openly. And we have to listen and educate ourselves, and then we have to spread the message to educate others. You know, because like at the end of the day, like if this was happening I mean, and it was obviously like with the beginning of COVID, like Asians were also suffering from discrimination, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing at this level, but you know, not to compare, but like, you know, like people were being violent towards Asians and whatnot, and like, you know, and if we had seen a video, if there's a widely circulated video right now of like an Asian man with a knee on their neck, wouldn't we want everybody else to stand up and speak up for us? I don't know. I mean, I genuinely don't. I feel like we would.
No, we would. But here's the question. Do you think that cop would have put a knee if it was not a Black man, but a Hispanic, a Chinese person, an Indian,
right,
another white guy?
And that's why you can't pull race out of this conversation, because of that. There's like this irrational fear that's, it's been ingrained for so long. You know, like this problem has been going back hundreds of years. This is not like a recent thing. Like, you know, this has been going back forever. And like, I mean, yeah, I think we were talking before about like leadership, like, you know, voting and whatever. Like, yeah, like that's one of the remedies. But there's like it's such a complicated, such a deep issue of hurt.
I do kind of feel like this is a subject for like, it's like a surgery that we're trying to do with a chainsaw over here. Like we're just trying to hack away at it and we don't really know what we're doing.
Right. Yeah, I think too, what people have to understand is in the US, it's so deep seated. And, you know, I feel like a lot of people are trying to make it about, you know, healing, coming together, talking, being more peaceful. But I feel like sometimes you can't just totally be peaceful because you need somebody who's a willing participant. And to me, in the US, half of this country went to war for slavery. So, and that wasn't that long ago. So it's not like you're talking to descendants of people who are thinking correctly and you can reason with them. Not only do they not think there should be equal rights, some of these people, like, not only did they believe in slavery, they were willing to die for it. And you think their descendants, like 1 or 2 generations later, are like, oh yeah, let's totally
forget those. Yeah.
Yeah. Solomon Giorgio had a great tweet where he said, he was like, I'm going to paraphrase, but it was basically like, yeah, I think Black people totally have a right to burn down the country that they built for free.
Yeah.